There's a systemic effort in international institutions like the United Nations to erase that heritage. People ask all the time, what are the chances Jesus walked this road? I say, look, I don't want to tell you stories. Conservatively speaking, the likelihood that he walked on this road is 100%. This is like the main shopping corridor of the ancient world in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. Uncover the history and heritage with significance not just to millions, but to billions of people around the world. That small little coin, that hope, that wish, that dream and that prayer took a lot longer than they thought it would. But here we are, 2,000 years later, because they never gave up. This is the bedrock of the heritage and values that have shaped the world for billions of people.
Yemini for TommyInIsrael.com. Do you love our URL?
I love that URL. Sign up to the URL.
We're going on a tour now in the city of David. I haven't personally been here myself, so where are you based out of? Let's see what it's like.
Let's see what it's like.
We're in a very unique place. You've heard of the lost city of Atlantis?
Yeah.
The lost city of Atlantis, one of the most famous lost cities in the world, but there's another lost city far more well known than Atlantis, and that's the lost city of Jerusalem. Except up until recently, nobody knew it was lost, because up until 150 years ago, everyone was looking for Jerusalem in the wrong place. So when you think of the Jerusalem of David, Solomon, prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah, everyone thinks it's the old city of Jerusalem, Western Wall area. That's where everyone thinks it is, the Via Dolorosa, Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Until 1867, when Queen Victoria of England, she wants to discover the treasures of the Bible, like the Ark of the Covenant. Now, if you want to find the treasures of the Bible, where are you going to go? You're going to go to Jerusalem. You go to the Holy Land. So she sends a man, Captain Charles Warren, to the Holy Land to find those treasures. And if you're going to search one place in Jerusalem to find the treasures of the Bible, you're going to come here to Jerusalem. You're going to go to the Old City, to the Temple Mount. Except 1867, who's here? The Ottomans, the Muslims are here. And they say, Charles, you are not going to dig up the Temple Mount. So now he realizes he has a problem. If he can't dig on the Temple Mount, the biblical Mount Moriah, where the Temple of Solomon stood, the temple going back to the time of Jesus where that stood, well, what's he going to do? He can't go back to the Queen with nothing. So he says, if I can't dig on the Temple Mount, I'll do the next best thing. And so he comes down the slopes of the Temple Mount, walks through the valley down below, and as he's walking through the valley, he comes across this. This is the Gihon Spring. These are the life-giving waters of Jerusalem, flowing from today, going back thousands and thousands of years. And these waters are flowing through an ancient man-made tunnel. Charles Warren doesn't know anything about it. All he knows is, old tunnel, man-made, really cool, where does it go? He begins to walk through this tunnel. It's totally dark. He's carrying a torch. The flame of his torch begins to flicker wildly. He looks above his head. He sees the shaft going up into the mountain. And he's curious, where does this shaft lead? He climbs up the shaft, and he finds himself inside a network of underground tunnels and fortifications with antiquities, fancy word for old stuff, dating back thousands of years. And he comes up with a theory. He says, everyone believes that the original biblical city of Jerusalem, the city of David, the place where Jerusalem began, everyone believes it's the old city. Charles Warren says, I believe everyone's wrong. I believe that the original biblical city of Jerusalem, the city of David, the place where Jerusalem began, is not located inside the walls of the old city, but outside. Except everyone thinks he's crazy. Why? Because this is the city of David going back more than 100 years. So they say, Charles, you're telling us this barren 11-acre ridge, this is Jerusalem's significance to not millions, but billions of people around the world. There's nothing here. It can't be. He says this is the spot, and over the next 150 years, the city of David becomes one of the most archaeologically excavated sites in the world, the most excavated site in this country, and today everyone knows that Charles Warren was in fact correct, that the original biblical city of Jerusalem, the city of David, the place where Jerusalem began, was significant to billions, to Jews, Christians, that everyone was looking for it outside. It's actually outside the walls of the old city. Now, here's the amazing thing. According to the United Nations, no one sitting around this table actually has any connection to Jerusalem. Because in 2016, the United Nations passes a resolution, a body called UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, which has one job. It's very basic: preserve the cultural heritage of humanity. And they pass a resolution talking about all the heritage that Jerusalem has. Except with all that heritage of thousands of years, there's none of that heritage for any of the people around this table. Because they say that the Western Wall and the Temple Mount are exclusively Islamic heritage sites. No heritage for Jews, no heritage for Christians. They say, how's that possible? Right? There's no place in the world that has more heritage, that both for the Jewish people, by extension for Christians, and they said, none of it. Right? And so that's the battle we're facing against. There is an effort today to erase what could be called the Judeo-Christian heritage, the values that Western civilization have been built upon, the values that Israel, the United States, the United Kingdom have been built upon, There's a systemic effort in international institutions like the United Nations to erase that heritage. And there's no place in the world more so than the city of David, which shows not simply as a matter of faith, but as a matter of fact, that that heritage is real, it's solid, that the antiquities are showing that it's true. It's real, you could see it, you could touch it, and that's what we're bringing to life here in the city of David for billions of people around the world. So this is David Leberry, who is the chairman of the city of David, and he's the founder of everything that's happening over here.
If you fight for something important, it's a fight. If nobody is against you, it means that you don't do anything important. So here David is a fight. And I started a project when I was commander of special unit in the army called Duvdevan. You know?
I was with them yesterday.
This village was a terrorist village, Arab terrorist.
Which village?
Where we are now.
Okay. Where you are now, terrorist, it means bombs, not storms, bombs, Islamic, extreme Islamic. And I work here as an Arab, and I heard from them about the importance of King David, King Solomon, and I came one day back to my wife, and I said, Michal, my name is David, my wife is Michal. David and Michal, King David, his wife was Michal. So I came and I said, here, I cannot work as a Jew, I have to dress like Arab, I'm going to change it, and one day we are going to live here. She said, you alone, I'm not coming to live among the Arab. And we started a project, and she lived with me. I started, you have to understand, this village, I remember many terrorists. So one day, to catch here terrorists, we came like CNN.
Like CNN?
CNN, television.
Pretending to be television?
Television. And we spoke with them.
Okay, you were interviewing them, but you were undercover.
Yes, undercover. And then we talked with them, hours, okay, takfir, okay. And then we asked, can you bring the leader? He came, the terrorist.
Leader
terrorist, yes. And he came.
Tommy Robinson of Israel.
And he came. So we also talked with him, takfir. Excellent. And then we asked him, can you come with us to the top of the mountain to take a picture from the top to see the Temple Mount? And he came with us in our car, the terrorist.
Yeah.
We didn't arrest him.
You didn't arrest him?
No, the system was that we planned it before. In the way, איך אומרים? barrier, מחסום.
Yeah, the barrier.
Barrier, army barrier.
Checkpoint.
Oh, okay.
Checkpoint,
Yeah,
yes. They stop us, give document. We gave them CNN, of course, forged paper, CNN, and they arrest him.
Okay, yeah.
So
we keeps you clean.
Yes, we are CNN. And then one day we came to this village. I have a special operation, special thing to do, and many soldiers around us just to make noise, to arrest, that they don't see what we are doing. Okay. We were 3 from our unit, and hundreds of soldiers tried to make noise. They killed some Arabs, and all the Arabs, all the mountains, came and shouting, and the commander of the army decided to leave the place. And he forgot that we are
still there.
3 inside. And we discovered ourselves alone, 3 among thousands. From you look to the right, black. You know, you see in the television, shouting, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. All around, you look black.
Everywhere.
And in 1 minute, one climbed to a high place and threw stones to one of our soldiers. I saw the stones, I pushed him, and I saved his life. And I understood that I have 20 seconds to do something, otherwise we are dead. You know what I did?
What would you do?
I shouted, we are running against thousands of people. You know what happened? We're running, we have nothing. We have a pistol under, it's nothing. They shouting, if you kill 1, 2, 3, it's nothing. But when you attack them, they escape.
You run at them.
We just run at them. And if we attack them, it means that we have a power. They're afraid from us. And they escape. And this is a lesson to your life. Be strong, attack.
Go straight ahead.
Okay? So think about it. And then we came to this place, and I decided to bring Jewish families, and we are living here. Next time you come to my house, Amichai, you were in my house?
Yeah.
Yes. Because I have a glass floor, and when you pick up the carpet, we are digging underneath. My house is a new house, only 2,800 years old. Only, yes. And each wall is just stones, art, and each wall is 2.5 meters. So you feel something very strong. You feel it, and underneath, we are digging. We discovered something from 3,000 years ago, and when we publish it, millions of people will come just to see it.
Okay.
So this is in your next visit to come to see.
Okay.
We want to show you something only from 2,000 years ago, 2000.
Is that it?
And I want to tell you that I understood that I'm going to change this place from terrorist village to tourist village. But people was afraid to come because Silwan was, people know it's a terrorist village. You send your son to terrorist village to visit, to tour. No. And we started to dig, to discover the old ancient city. And I remember the first time that we made a festival.
That you made a what?
We
A
made
festival.
a festival.
A festival. Okay.
Festival.
Yes. 0 visitors. What are you succeed 0? It's good to 0. It means that you never go down, only up. So I called to the radio and I said, I want to apologize for the thousands of people who are on the way to come. Don't come. It's full, no parking, full, 0. They started to come.
And then
they started. And before the corona,
Corona.
COVID,
before the corona, we had more than 1 million visitors in 1 year. It means that we
You've
succeed to
succeeded.
change.
Yeah, the mindset.
Yes, and I want to show you, we have short time, so he's going to show you one place,
Yep.
but you have to double it, many stores like this.
Okay.
So you come again.
I'll come
okay?
again. I will come again.
No, it's an amazing thing when you look at a map of the region. You got the one Jewish country
I know,
that
this big.
this big. You can't even fit the name within the country on the map, and
Every
10 million people surrounded by. You take all the Middle Eastern and Islamic countries surrounding us, probably 1 billion or so Muslims surrounding Israel, and yet somehow the one little country who the archaeology here shows we've been here for thousands of years.
3,500.
We're the ones who are the foreigners. One of the things that makes Jerusalem so significant, there's probably no place in the world that excites people, whether positively or negatively, than Jerusalem. Meaning most people don't wake up in the morning and say, well, let me look to the pyramids for guidance and influence. Let me look to the Colosseum or Machu Picchu. But the foundations of civilization that have been coming out of Jerusalem for thousands of years, it's as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. And so for those who don't like these values, the heritage that have come from Jerusalem going back thousands of years, and which so much of the archaeology is affirming here as having been not simply a matter of faith, but a matter of fact, real people, real events, it scares people, right? The idea that you could build a civilization based on certain values, probably a lot of the people that you're dealing with back home They don't like those values, and they don't like that heritage, and they don't want those foundations for society. And you see that Europe is changing, and a lot of the world is changing.
Yeah,
and so the question is, what do you want? What do you want the future to be? What do you want the foundations of your society to be? So now we have over here. This used to be a parking lot.
This used to be
a parking lot, a car park. And I'll show you about 15 years ago, what we're looking at over here.
in what year?
About 15, we're talking about early 2000s, right? Car park,
Okay, so okay.
right? And we wanted to build our visitor center over here. Now, before you can build a visitor center, the Israel Antiquities Authority says, well, hold on, let's make sure there's nothing exciting beneath the car park. So they come with ground-penetrating radar, they scan down, and they find more than 10 layers of ancient Jerusalem civilization located beneath our feet over here. It's the largest active excavation going on here in Jerusalem, finding treasures, golden treasures, going back to the Byzantine period. About 1400 years ago, you have seals with names of figures from the Bible going back 2500 years ago. Here's a golden earring 2000 years ago, going back to the time of Jesus. And the amazing thing is, if you look around, you have homes all around us here. Now beneath everything, beneath every home is more of this. Now the challenge in Jerusalem is, how do you, on the one hand, respect the modern and also uncover the ancient? And that's why we've been digging here for the last 150 years, because you have to respect the people who live here today, but also uncover the history and heritage with significance, not just to millions, but to billions of people around the world. There's one story which ties back to a young woman from the UK who she was volunteering here. And legend had it that the archaeologists thought she was a bit annoying. And so what happened? They said, the archaeologist is sitting over there. They said, where can we put this volunteer where she'll be far away from us? So they send her to the back corner over there in an area that had already been excavated. And she's digging and digging, and all of a sudden she starts to scream. And nobody knew what happened. They rush over, and they thought maybe a stone fell on her. And they get there, and they see hundreds and hundreds of gold coins pouring out of a secret compartment in a wall. These coins go back to around 613 during the Byzantine period, and here you have the the Byzantine Emperor Heraclius, and this was an emergency minting for the defense of the city against the Persian invasion, right? All discovered by this UK young woman volunteer, and after that they didn't think she was annoying anymore. They liked her a lot because these discoveries made the archaeologists very famous. But these things are happening every day over here. And again, it's affirming the heritage of so many peoples going back to this place and showing that this heritage is still alive. It's still real. It still matters. It's not just something that happened thousands of years ago, but the people living here today are very much rooted in that history, in that identity.
So that's the crazy thing, that what you find under here is under every house.
That's right. Everything in Jerusalem. And
everything's been built on top of
I don't know if you have it in the UK, but they say you have like eminent domain, where the government can just come in and say, look, we need this area,
Yeah,
we'll give you some money. Right, so in this part of Jerusalem, we don't have that. And so again, the challenge here is, how do you, on the one hand, respect...
And I'm guessing these houses that are around here in Jerusalem are worth...
Right, so here, the homes here are worth a fortune for three reasons. And the reasons are not, nice kitchens and bathrooms. It's location, location, and location.
Okay.
There's only one biblical Jerusalem. If you happen to have a property here, it's worth a lot of money. But also another challenge here is real estate. What do I mean by that?
Not enough.
One is not enough, but there's another challenge, which is there's a law that both Hamas and the Palestinian Authority have, which is, even in Jerusalem, if a Muslim sells their property to a non-Muslim, you're going to get one of two punishments: death or life imprisonment.
Well, that's a punishment now for a Muslim living in this area.
Even in this area, if you go and you sell your home to a non-Muslim,
yeah,
you're gonna have big problems. So that means if you're someone living here, they say, you know what, we want to sell our home, right? Legally, willingly. So they say, okay, we're gonna go to a real estate agent and we're gonna market our home, and then whoever gives us the best offer, we're gonna sell it to.
They can't do that.
They can't do that, right?
Only Muslims can buy.
And it's 2025. It's crazy that you're gonna say that real estate is gonna be based on race. That if you're a Muslim here, you can't sell to a Christian, to a Jew, to whoever you want to.
Who enforces that? Hamas?
Hamas,
And
Palestinian Authority. Yeah. Yeah. To this day.
And if you're Jewish here and you're selling your property?
Sell whoever you want.
You can sell to whoever you want?
Yeah.
But we hear that it's the Jews in Israel who are having an apartheid.
It's the worst thing you could be in Palestinian society. The worst crime you could be guilty of is what they call being a collaborator.
Which is what you're executed for,
Right.
which is what they're doing now in
Which
Gaza.
is exactly, if you in any way are perceived as having some type of positive ties, helpful ties with Israel or Jews, that's the biggest crime in Palestinian society today. And so the idea that you would sell a home in Jerusalem to a non-Muslim, that's a crime, right? 2025.
How has the demographics changed in Jerusalem?
Look, Jerusalem is a mixed city. It's
I know you have the Arab quarter, you have the Christian quarter, you have the Jewish
yeah,
quarter.
but even outside the old city, since the mid 1800s, you have a clear Jewish majority in Jerusalem, with obviously a growing Muslim minority as well. But it's for time immemorial, this has been a place that's had, whether it's Christians, Jews, Muslims, people want to be in Jerusalem. But the only reason today that people of all faiths and backgrounds are actually able to go to their holy places in Jerusalem is because for nearly the last 70 years, this whole area has been under Israeli sovereignty. For much of the last 2,000 years, you did not have freedom of access, freedom of worship to all these places. You look around the Middle East today, Christians are being driven out of any Middle Eastern countries where they still are. They're being driven out of. They don't have freedom of worship, freedom of access to their holy places.
I always ask this question, so if Hamas or the Palestinian Authority were in control of Jerusalem, do we really think that Christians would be able to visit these
Well, we
sites?
already know, because if you look around the Middle East, the destruction of holy places, even Islamic holy places of other sects of Islam, not to mention Christian holy places. You look in the destruction
In Syria.
you have in Syria of ancient churches and temples. You have what the Taliban did to the Bumayyad statues a number of decades ago. You have the destruction of the Temple Mount in the late 90s carried out by the Islamic Waqf, destroying ancient antiquities on the Temple Mount. So we know exactly what would happen, which would be the destruction of sites that have significance to Jews, to Christians around the world. The reason that those sites are open today and standing today and accessible today, regardless of a person's faith, is because Israel's here. That Israel's ensuring the freedom of worship, freedom of access to people of all faiths and backgrounds to come and connect with their holy places. We're going underground. One of the challenges here is you have the modern neighborhood above our heads.
Yep.
And so in order to carry out the excavation here, we have to support the modern in order to uncover the ancient. And so we're now going to make our way down to what has been called the most significant archaeological discovery of the last 100 years. So this is an active excavation area, work area, so we're going to go down carefully.
So when you say, where we just showed that car park, so when we said there's houses, so
Sure.
what they've done is they've just dug tunnels under the houses.
So right. So you have here, the homes are above,
Homes are above.
and the excavations are below. One of the challenges.
So they're still excavating
100%.
underneath.
And it's all legal. It's all
Okay.
it's all kosher. It's nothing secret. All this is carried out under the full auspices of the Israel Antiquities
You've been there
Authority.
before,
And again, the challenge here
been there
is
before.
support the modern, uncover the ancient.
It's cool.
Yep.
And so everyone gets to stay where they are, but in the meantime, we uncover the ancient heritage from down below at the same time.
Okay.
And so we have to put in all of this engineering to ensure that what's above stays above in order to give access to what we're uncovering down below, which we will see in just another moment.
Under the city of Jerusalem, how many of these sorts of tunnels?
Look, you have one of the challenges that you have in Jerusalem is there are a lot of layers. And so the ancient layers have been covered up over time by modern layers. And so normally archaeology is going to be top down.
Yep.
But here we don't do that. And so you have a lot of the archaeology in Jerusalem is actually conducted underground. And so you have the modern above, the ancient below. Here you can get a sense of the size of stones we're about to see. And the big question is, how do they get in ancient times, 2,000 years ago, stones of this size and bigger over here? Back in the day when they didn't have all the cranes.
You know what I mean? Isn't it?
It's massive, right? So how are they moving in ancient times stones of that size?
And how did they?
How did they? They came up with pulleys and but the quarries where they're getting those stones are not here, right? So they're having to bring those stones from far distances to here. And
Crazy, isn't it?
so we like to think that today, because we walk around with an iPhone in our pocket, we're the most advanced people to ever live. We're now about to enter an excavation that goes back some 2,000 years. And yet, above us, we have all these layers going up to modern times, 2025. And so the question is, well, how does that happen? And it's very simple. So imagine you have a layer a civilization 2,000 years ago. And then the Romans come in, they destroy that. Then other people come in and they conquer that. You throw in a couple of earthquakes, a couple of more conflicts, and layer atop layer, atop layer, atop layer, until eventually you get up to modern day. Now again, normally, archaeologically speaking, what happens? You'll excavate straight down. But here we can't do that because out of respect for the people who live in this neighborhood today, we can't excavate top down. And so we have to support everything above our heads, enabling us to excavate what we're going to see has been called perhaps the most significant archaeological discovery of the last 100 years. And in order to understand that, we have to go back to a busted sewage pipe in 2004. 2004 at the southern end of the city of David. We're talking about right over here. We right now are pretty much right over here underground. We're now talking about a sewage pipe beneath the road right over here. And that sewage pipe bursts. And now the municipality of Jerusalem has to repair the sewage pipe. But Jerusalem is not just another municipality. And the city of David, the place where Jerusalem began, is not just another part of Jerusalem. And here, when a sewage pipe bursts, you don't only send in construction crews, you also send in who? Archaeologists, right? So the archaeologists come in, they're supervising, the bulldozers and dump trucks are doing their work. And the archaeologists begin to hear scraping, scratching, it doesn't sound right. They clear everyone out, and it turns out that they had found a series of ancient stone steps, 2,000 years old.
They found these?
These, right over here.
Okay.
These steps here, going back to the time of Jesus. And the archaeologists said, well, we know what these steps, these steps here, there's only one other set of steps. And all of Jerusalem look just like these. And these are the steps that go up to the Temple Mount, right? You're talking about the southern steps with significance to both Jews and Christians alike. And so they say, we know what these steps are. What are these steps down over here? And they realized they'd found the steps leading down to the ancient Pool of Siloam. Now, what's the Pool of Siloam? For Christians, deep significance in the Christian scriptures, the story of the healing of the blind man. And they say in the Bible, there's 3 times during the year when all of Israel has to go on pilgrimage up to the temple. We're talking about Passover, Pentecost, Tabernacles. Now, before you can go up to the temple, what do you need to do? You have to wash, cleanse, bathe, go to a ritual bath. These steps led down to the ancient Pool of Siloam, which would have been the largest ritual bath, perhaps in the world 2,000 years ago. The historian Josephus says you would have had nearly 3 million people who would have made their way on the pilgrimage festivals like Passover up to the temple, but first cleansing themselves here. So the question is, we know where the Pool of Siloam is, about 300 meters to the south of where we're standing right now, being actively excavated as we speak.
But they didn't know where it was.
Not then, right? And now the question is, okay, we know where the pool is. We know where the temple stood on the Temple Mount, another 300 meters to the north. How did all those millions of pilgrims get from the pool up to the temple?
Oh, there's going to be steps.
So they widen the excavation.
That's why I just walked up.
And they find what has been called the most significant archaeological discovery of the last 100 years. Let's go take a look.
Okay.
And just to be clear, this is all proof that the Palestinians were here thousands of years ago.
100%. 100%. 100%. It's actually an amazing thing that Yasser Arafat and other leaders of the Palestinian movement, they deny that there's any biblical heritage in Jerusalem. And here's an interesting thing. If we go back to the 1920s, you have a body called the Supreme Muslim Council. Right, so here's a booklet, 1930. Supreme Muslim Council puts out a brief guide to the Al-Haram al-Sharif, referring to the Temple Mount. Now it's published in English. Now, why would the Supreme Muslim Council publish a booklet in English in 1930 about the Temple Mount? Who is meant to read this book? The British, who were stationed in this country at the time. So now the question is, in 1930, what does the Supreme Muslim Council want British people who are stationed here to know about the Temple Mount? Well, it's quite interesting. It says, its identity with the site of Solomon's temple is beyond dispute. This too is the spot, according to universal belief, on which, quote, David built an altar unto the Lord and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. So in 1930, the Supreme Muslim Council says there was a David, there was a Solomon, there was a temple atop the Temple Mount. Beyond dispute, universal belief, and they quote the Bible. Now, it's a long time ago, 1930.
Why would they do that?
Why would they do that? Because it's true, right? And so 1930, they were just, it was a history book.
Okay, they weren't on their jihad then.
So what happened after 1948?
Once it's formation, then they have to change.
Right, so now what happens? So now they put out new versions of the booklet. And here's one of the most modern versions of this booklet. Al-Aqsa Mosque, Clarifications for Misconceptions. Now what are the misconceptions? Maybe you read the earlier version. So they clarify it very quickly. Dome of the Rock, and not the Holy of Holies. The Al-Burak Wall, and not the Wailing Wall. Not the Western Wall. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, and not the temple.
The Al-Aqsa Mosque has been built on top of it.
Right, so what was less than a century ago, beyond dispute, universal belief, is today being erased. So I was here not long ago with some EU officials who came for an off-the-record visit, And they asked me, they said, what do the Palestinian leadership, what do they think about the city of David? I said, they hate this place. They said, why? I said, well, it's very simple.
Contradicts there.
So the story that they've been telling for nearly a century now is that Israel's a colonial project. We're a bunch of occupiers, colonizers, thieves. We have no history in the land of Israel, and certainly not in Jerusalem. And I said, what is the problem with that? The city of David. We are what you could call an inconvenient truth, because everywhere you dig in the city of David, you find antiquities, fancy words for old stuff dating back thousands of years, which show that Jerusalem's biblical heritage for Jews, for Christians, is not simply a matter of faith, but a matter of fact. But I saw they got uncomfortable. They didn't like that. I said, I get it. You know, you want to separate the politics from the archaeology. Totally understand. I have a foolproof, foolproof way, though, how to do that. They said, okay, tell us. We're very interested. I said, you can put out whatever diplomatic initiatives you want, whatever peace plans you want. You want 1 state, 2 state, 3 states, no states, whatever you want. You could put out your proposals. You just have to do one small thing. They said, what's that? I said, all that has to happen is for the heads of the United Nations, for the heads of the European Union, for the heads of Palestinian leadership to simply acknowledge that the archaeology incontrovertibly shows that the Jewish people, and by extension Christians, have been in Jerusalem for thousands of years. That's it, and after that, do whatever you want. And they looked at me and they said, they'll never agree to that. I said, well, what do you want from us? Well, we're just uncovering the history, we're uncovering the heritage. This should not be political, it shouldn't be controversial, it shouldn't be right-wing, left-wing, religious, secular. This is just history. Here it is. But if you can't accept this history, which shows that we've been here for thousands of years, if that is controversial, I said to them, well, there's really nothing else to talk about. If you can't acknowledge our basic history in this land, that we've been here for thousands of years, that we're not some colonial project, if we can't agree on that, well, you know, then there's not a whole lot we're going to be able to work out, right? And that's the challenge here. We know where the pool is, 300 meters to the south, Temple Mount, 300 meters to the north. How did the millions of pilgrims get from the pool up to the temple? We're standing on the answer. We are standing.
These are the originals.
These are the original flagstones of the 2,000-year-old pilgrimage road.
Look at the size of them.
Right? Massive. And what you're seeing here is only one narrow stretch. The road itself is about 5 times wider going across. What the archaeologists are doing now is a north-south connection from the Pool of Siloam up to the footsteps of the Temple Mount. And once they finish north-south, they'll expand east-west. But this is what
How wide do you say it is?
About 5 times wider. About
5
30
times
feet.
wider.
30 feet or so wide. And you're talking about, this was the biblical superhighway. Anywhere you wanted to go in Jerusalem thousands of years ago, this is the road that's going to take you there. Not a road near here, not stones that look like these. This road, these actual stones. If you come over here, you'll see only one of its kind that's been found in Jerusalem so far. It's found here in the city of David along the pilgrimage road. This might remind you of home a little bit. This is the original Hyde Park. This is the original Speaker's Corner. So imagine you had someone 2,000 years ago who had a message they wanted to share, to preach. They're going to get up here.
As people walk past.
And if you're interesting, people are going to stop and listen. And if not, someone else will get up and give it a go. Right? So if you had a political message, an ethical message, a cultural message that you want to deliver, you're going to get up here and do your thing. People ask all the time, you know, what are the chances Jesus walked this road? I say, look, I don't want to tell you stories. Conservatively speaking, the likelihood that he walked on this road is 100%. So, well, how do you know? Well, it's very simple. If you believe there was a historic Jesus 2,000 years ago, he was Jewish. He went with all the Jews down to cleanse at the Pool of Siloam at the southern end of the city of David. He would have then walked up from the pool, along the pilgrimage road, through the city of David, up to the Temple Mount. The Pool of Siloam that we're excavating in the city of David as we speak is 100% the same pool from 2,000 years ago.
Can we see the pool?
We're going to see it. Same pilgrimage road, same city of David, same Temple Mount, not simply a matter of faith, but a matter of fact. What we're walking on right now is easily the most hallowed half mile anywhere in the world. There is no half mile that means more.
The most what? Hallowed? What
Hallowed, holy, significant.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Most significant half mile anywhere in the world. For billions, not for millions. And you can see as we walk down here, there would have been shops and stalls that lined the pilgrimage road.
Yeah, look, all along here.
Yeah, this is like the main shopping corridor of the ancient world in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. That you're on your way up to the temple, you want to get something.
Look at the size of these rocks.
That's huge.
How much would it took to make this, you know what I mean?
Look, Herod, who this dates back to around his time period, was known for 2 things. He was known for his building ability and for his killing ability, right? Everything he built going back 2,000 years ago,
Proper geezer.
everything he built is still standing. Whether it's here in Jerusalem.
Everyone he killed is still dead.
Right, and indeed, there you go. These flagstones go back to the year 70 when the Romans destroyed Jerusalem. So already here you can see the Roman destruction of Jerusalem. Up until now, we're walking down the nice paved flagstones of the pilgrimage road. And here you begin to see the destruction going back to the year 70. Here you can see some of the flagstones.
How long has it taken them to do this digging?
To excavate? We've probably been excavating this whole stretch probably the last 15 years or so. Archaeologists find the pool.
Yep.
They had the question, how did everyone from the pool get up to the Temple Mount? They widen the excavation. They begin to find the beginning of the pilgrimage road, and they find a giant crack in the pavement. And they thought, okay, maybe it's in America what would be called a pothole in the street, right? So they said, okay, potholes today, potholes 2,000 years ago. But then they find this one, and they find another one, and another one, and another one, as if someone is deliberately busting open the flagstones of the pilgrimage road. And they couldn't understand, why would someone do that? So they looked to the writings of the historian Josephus. And Josephus says in the year 70, the Romans are destroying Jerusalem. The temple atop the Temple Mount is in flames. The last Jews of Jerusalem are seeking refuge, hiding from the Romans. Where? In the drainage channel beneath the pilgrimage road, which looks like this.
Open to
right?
them.
And the Romans find out about it, and they come with sledgehammers, and they shatter the flagstones.
And that's what this
And
is.
they find 2,000 Jews hiding in the sewers beneath our feet, beneath the pilgrimage road. Archaeologists find whole cooking pots, meaning the people were living there for days, for weeks, for months, until the Romans find them all and kill them all. These are the last days of Jerusalem in the year 70. Now the Romans are so proud of their victory over Jerusalem that they mint a coin. Here is the Roman Emperor Vespasian, and in the year 71, they mint a coin that says Judea Capta. Judea, the name of the country, has been captured or defeated. The capital was Jerusalem. Jews are called Jews because Jews come from Judea. And you see a Roman legionnaire towering above a woman on her knees crying. You can see how proud the Romans were of their victory of Jerusalem. Now, if you go to Rome today, you have the Arch of Titus. Now, Titus goes on to become Emperor of Rome. But before he's Emperor of Rome, he's the commander of the 10th Roman Legion, which destroys Jerusalem, which destroys the temple. And on the arch, you have the temple treasures being led out of Jerusalem into Rome. The Romans were so proud of defeating this country, of conquering it, of taking away all the identity, all the treasures, all the culture, that they celebrated it on coins, on arches. But in the years leading up to the destruction, there was a period known as the Great Revolt, the Great Jewish Revolt for freedom against the Roman occupation. And each year of the revolt, they're minting small bronze coins. Why were they minting these coins? Because the coins at that time had no monetary value. And if they really wanted to fight the Romans, what should they have used the metal for instead of minting worthless coins? To make what? To make weapons, right? So why are they minting these coins? So I want to share with you an answer that I find to be meaningful. But before I do, I want to show you one such coin. This coin here is 2,000 years old. This coin here goes back to the year 67. And it says on the coin, for the freedom of Zion, for the freedom of Jerusalem. That coin,
Okay, hold it up to me.
that coin represented a hope, a wish, a dream, and a prayer that one day
Be free from.
the Jewish people returned to Jerusalem as sovereign, that they would get their country back. Now, they probably thought it would take a few years, a few decades. They couldn't imagine it would be nearly 2,000 years before that would happen. But in the year 1958, on Israel's 10th anniversary, Israel mints its first commemorative medallion. But there's something strange about this medallion, because if you look closely at the medallion, what do you see here? They've minted
They've used the
Roman victory
Roman
coin.
victory
Now,
coin.
why would you mint a symbol of shame for your people? It doesn't make any sense until you flip it over. And when you flip it
And
over,
it shows the woman standing up.
now
and
it
that-
says Israel liberata. Israel's been liberated.
So
the Roman
it
soldier's
goes
gone.
from the Roman soldier over the woman to then showing the woman free of her baby.
Right, and a man working the land
And
beside
a
her.
man building the land, planting.
And this was Israel's response to Rome 2,000 years in the making.
Okay.
And if you think about that small little coin, that hope, that wish, that dream, and that prayer, it took a lot longer than they thought it would. But here we are, 2,000 years later, because they never gave up on their ideals, on their principles, on their values, on their hopes, to one day return and restore their country. And that's what they did here, 2,000 years later. And so you go through hard times, but the secret of Jerusalem is, it says in the Bible that the righteous will be knocked down 7 times and get back up. The wicked fall once and stay down.
You're not telling us in 2,000 years we'll free Britain of the problems, right?
Got to play the long game sometimes. Right? Temple offerings, your souvenirs, your hats, your water bottles. This is your fish and chips, whatever. This is where you're going to do it.
Whose shops were they? Were they Jewish shops or they were Roman?
Whoever, meaning these were.
I'm just trying to work out if the Jews were selling us stuff back then.
Yeah, bro, probably. Now, if you look up there, you see those rusting metallic doors just hanging in space in that wall?
On the left, yeah.
Yeah, that was where the road was. The sewage pipe was down here. Cars would be driving in and out of those doors.
Wow.
Sewage pipe burst. They have to dig all the way down. The bulldozers
Stop finding
are
this.
scraping up against this, and they realized they had found the steps leading down to the original Pool of Siloam. And over the last year and a half or so, they've continued the excavation over here, and now we've gotten a sense of the enormity of how big this pool was going back 2,000 years. So we're standing on the original steps, going back to the time of Jesus, and you see the size of the massive pool that would have been here 2,000 years ago. So whatever you feel as a Jew, as a Christian, whatever you believe happened here in the Pool of Siloam, this is where it was. And this was the beginning of the pilgrimage journey. You'd come here, you'd immerse
It's mad that
yourself.
They've just found this.
It's being excavated as we speak. This is it, right? So we're excavating the pool, we're excavating the road. We're bringing this one of the most significant half miles in all of civilization, which has shaped civilization as we know it today, whether the United States, Israel, parts of Europe. This is the bedrock of the heritage and values that have shaped the world for billions of people. And we're bringing it back over here, bringing it back to life so that people will be able to come and connect with the roots of their identity, of their faith, a place that has a great deal of meaning. And I was asked once, standing over here by journalists, she said, you know, you've spoken a lot about the Bible. Do you actually believe that all these Bible stories, that they're true, they really happened? And I said, it actually doesn't matter what I believe, because there's no place in the world more than Jerusalem, where not for millions, but billions of people wake up every day and they look to Jerusalem as a source of hope, meaning, faith, purpose, identity, inspiration, more than New York, Rome, London, Moscow, Paris, Riyadh. They look to Jerusalem. And so if you want to understand the world today, past, present, and also future, you need to understand Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is the city of David. And so what we've seen today in our short time together is a small amount of what's been unearthed here, what we're bringing back for people to connect with here in the city of David. There's a lot more to see, and even more that's being uncovered. And so I'll end with the hope, prayer, and blessing that we've been saying for nearly 2,000 years, which is next year in Jerusalem. And hopefully you can take the spirit of this place and bring it back home with you.
If you got as much as I did out of this tour of the city of David, make sure to like, comment, and share it far and wide. And then, if you support our mission on the ground here to bring you what Tommy Robinson is actually experiencing and what he's seeing here in Israel, go to tommyinisrael.com, check out all our reports, all our videos. And if you support it, consider chipping in to help us cover the cost, because we are not taking any money from any NGOs, any government, no matter what they say online. We stay independent, but we need your help, the viewers. It's not cheap to be here, but it's worth it, and it's worth staying independent. tommyinisrael.com.